ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. Presentation 1. What is ADHD? ADHD myth busting. ADHD is just kids being naughty, right? Well, no. ADHD individuals have differences in the structure and working of their brains which can affect their movement, learning and social behaviour. ADHD is caused by poor parenting. Well, no. ADHD is an inherited medical condition that tends to run in families. I've heard that ADHD is caused by poor diet. Well, again, no. There is no evidence that diet causes ADHD. There is some evidence that certain foods, particularly some food additives, may cause ADHD-like symptoms. So what is ADHD then? ADHD is a developmental neurological condition. This means that as the brain develops, there are small but significant differences in the way it works. ADHD is a recognised medical condition with numerous studies across a range of disciplines providing evidence of its validity. For example, brain imaging studies have shown differences in the prefrontal cortex of ADHD individuals. Other studies have found that ADHD individuals have differences in the way they process dopamine. This important brain chemical is a neurotransmitter with an essential role in concentration, working memory and motivational processes. So who gets ADHD? ADHD affects between 5% and 10% of children. ADHD is a lifelong condition, but it is only significant for about 4% of adults. A lot more boys are diagnosed with ADHD than girls. Studies vary between 2 and 6 boys for every 1 girl diagnosed. However, girls are probably underrepresented due to differences in gender behaviour. The reasons why children develop ADHD are not fully understood, but there are a number of risk factors that increase the chance of developing the condition. ADHD is more likely to be diagnosed in children who have a parent or sibling with ADHD, have had exposure to environmental poisons such as lead, have had a childhood injury to the front of the head, particularly the prefrontal cortex, and children born towards the end of the academic year. ADHD is also more likely where there is maternal use of drugs, alcohol or tobacco, particularly during pregnancy, children from families with social and economic deprivation, and those that were born premature or with a low birth weight. How does ADHD affect a child? There are 3 areas of difficulty: inattention, impulsivity, and hyperactivity. Hyperactivity. At least 3 of the following symptoms of hyperactivity have persisted for at least 6 months. Often fidgets with hands or feet or squirms in their seat. Leaves their seat in classroom or in other situation in which remaining seated is expected. Often runs about or climbs excessively in situations in which it is inappropriate. In adolescents or adults, this may be just a feeling of restlessness. The child may be unduly noisy in playing or has difficulty engaging quietly in leisure activities. They may exhibit a persistent pattern of excessive motor activity that is not substantially modified by social context or demands. Impulsivity. At least 1 symptom of impulsivity has persisted for at least 6 months. Often blurts out answers before questions have been completed. Often fails to wait in lines or wait their turn in games or group situations. An impulsive child may often interrupt or intrude on others, for example butting into someone's conversation or disrupting a game. An impulsive child may talk excessively without any appropriate response to social constraints. Inattention. At least 6 of the following symptoms of inattention have persisted for at least 6 months. The inattentive child may lack attention to detail, leading to careless mistakes in schoolwork or other activities. They may easily lose concentration in tasks or play activities. It often appears that they are not listening to what has been said to him or her. The inattentive child often fails to follow through on instructions or to finish their schoolwork. This is not because of oppositional behaviour or a failure to understand the instruction. The inattentive child is often poorly organised and doesn't have a strategy for organising themselves for tasks and activities. They may avoid or strongly dislike tasks such as homework that require sustained mental effort. The child may be disorganised and often does not have the things they need for lessons, such as pencils, books, PE kits. The inattentive child is easily distracted by external stimuli, such as movement outside the classroom. This child frequently forgets what they need to do or where they should be. Diagnosis. ADHD can only be diagnosed by a medical specialist, such as a behavioural paediatrician or a psychiatrist. ADHD symptoms must be present for more than 6 months so that a persistent pattern of inattention and/or hyperactivity impulsivity is described. ADHD symptoms must be present in 2 or more settings, for example the home and school. ADHD symptoms must have a negative impact on social, academic or occupational functioning. ADHD can be thought of as a spectrum condition. This is because the symptoms of ADHD are distributed throughout the general population and vary in severity. Only where these symptoms have a significant impact for the individual should a diagnosis be sought. ADHD can be subdivided into 3 presentations: an inattentive type, a hyperactive and impulsive type, and finally a combined inattentive with hyperactive and impulsive traits type. Co-morbidity. Individuals with a diagnosis of ADHD have an increased risk of having the following conditions: autistic spectrum disorder or ASD, oppositional defiant disorder ODD, or conduct disorder, and they have an increased chance of drug misuse. Specific reading and writing difficulties such as dyslexia, and specific difficulties with maths such as dyscalculia. Often they may have working memory difficulties. ADHD children are more likely to have behavioural and emotional problems, aggressive and antisocial behaviour, and suffer from anxiety and mood problems. A free handout on ADHD is available on the Happy Learners website.